The last human transmission began with 7 words, "Earth is falling. We have failed." Across the galaxy, alien governments celebrated. For 2 centuries, humanity had been called stubborn, primitive, and dangerously unpredictable, but now the Terran defense fleet was gone, Earth's orbital shields were collapsing, and the Kharvex Dominion had surrounded the planet with more than 12,000 warships. On the bridge of the human flagship Resolute, Admiral Elias Vance watched the enemy fleet fill the tactical display like a second sky. Behind him, officers stood silent, exhausted, many bleeding from wounds caused by the bombardment. Earth had fought for 19 days. 19 days against an enemy that had conquered 40 civilizations. The Kharvex had destroyed Lunar Station, burned the Martian shipyards, shattered Earth's outer colonies, and finally broken through the defense ring around the homeworld. Every major human warship had been destroyed. Every reserve fleet had been committed. Every secret weapon they possessed had failed. Then the Kharvex commander transmitted one final message across every human frequency. "Surrender, humans. Your species has reached the end of its history." Elias stared at the message for several seconds. "Send a reply." His communications officer looked at him. "Admiral?" Elias leaned forward. "Tell them they are correct." The officer hesitated, then transmitted, "Humanity has reached the end of its history." The Kharvex celebrated immediately. Across the galaxy, news networks announced the fall of Earth. Ancient civilizations that had feared humanity's unpredictable rise finally relaxed. The Terran Republic was finished. Or so they believed. Beneath Earth's surface, 12 kilometers below the Pacific Ocean, something older than human civilization was waking up. Dr. Mara Vance stood inside a colossal underground chamber, staring at a structure that had never appeared on any human star map. It was shaped like a black sphere nearly 3 kilometers wide, suspended above a circular platform. There were no engines, no weapons, no visible doors. The sphere had been discovered beneath the ocean 83 years earlier, buried inside rock that scientists dated to an impossible age. It was not thousands of years old. It was not millions. Its material contained isotopes suggesting it had existed before Earth itself had formed. Every attempt to open it had failed. Until that night. Mara's hands trembled as the chamber shook. "They are here," whispered one of the technicians. "The Kharvex have entered the atmosphere." Mara looked at the sphere. "Then it's time." The technician stared at her. "You mean activate it?" "Yes. The Council ordered us never to. The Council is dead." A tremendous explosion rocked the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. Mara placed her palm against a circular interface that had appeared on the sphere only minutes earlier. For 83 years, humanity had believed the object was a machine. They were wrong. It was a door. And humanity had finally found the key. The sphere opened without sound. Darkness spilled outward, but it was not empty darkness. Stars appeared inside it, millions of them, followed by the image of a galaxy humanity had never seen. Then a voice spoke in perfect English. "Recognition confirmed. Species, human. Status, surviving." Mara stopped breathing. "Who are you?" The voice answered, "We are what your ancestors left behind." Above Earth, the Kharvex began their final attack. Their largest battleships entered orbit while planetary cannons prepared to fire. The Dominion commander, Supreme Marshal Vorak, watched the blue planet beneath him and smiled. "Begin extinction protocol." 12,000 warships charged their weapons. Then every sensor aboard every Kharvex vessel detected something impossible. A gravitational disturbance appeared beneath the Pacific Ocean. At first, Vorak thought it was a weapon. Then the disturbance expanded. The ocean itself began rising. Clouds spiraled toward a single point. Satellites were thrown from orbit. The planet's magnetic field changed. And from beneath Earth, something emerged. It was not one ship. It was thousands. Black vessels rose from the planet like an ancient fleet awakening from a grave. They climbed through the atmosphere without engines, without fire, without sound. Their hulls were enormous, far larger than anything humanity had ever built. Each carried the same symbol, a simple human hand reaching toward a star. On the Resolute, Elias watched the impossible fleet appear around Earth. His officers stared in disbelief. "Admiral," someone whispered, "those ships aren't transmitting identification codes." Elias stood slowly. "They don't need to." Mara's voice suddenly appeared over the bridge speakers. "Admiral Vance, this is Dr. Mara Vance." Elias recognized her voice. "Mara? What did you find?" A pause. "Not what we found." Her voice became almost a whisper. "What they found was us." Elias looked at the tactical screen. The ancient fleet had formed a perfect circle around Earth. Thousands of ships. Then millions of smaller craft emerged from the black sphere, spreading across the solar system. "What are they?" Elias asked. Mara answered, "Humanity's first civilization." Silence filled the bridge. "That's impossible," one officer said. "Our history only goes back a few 100,000 years." "Our recorded history does," Mara replied. "But the people who built this fleet existed long before Earth." Elias stared at the fleet. "Why did they disappear?" Mara took a breath. "Because they knew someone was coming." On the Kharvex command ship, alarms screamed. Vorak demanded answers. "Identify those vessels." His science officer was shaking. "We can't." "Then destroy them." The Kharvex fleet fired simultaneously. 12,000 battleships unleashed enough energy to crack a moon. The beams crossed the darkness toward Earth. The ancient fleet did not move. The weapons reached the first line of black ships, and stopped. Not deflected. Not absorbed. Stopped. Every beam froze in space as if reality itself had become solid. Then the ancient fleet answered. One pulse. A single pulse of pale light crossed the solar system. Every Kharvex ship lost power. Their weapons shut down. Engines died. Communications disappeared. Artificial gravity failed. Across 12,000 vessels, millions of Kharvex soldiers suddenly floated helplessly in darkness. Vorak screamed, "What did they do?" A calm voice answered through his bridge speakers. "We remembered." Vorak turned toward the screen. The symbol of the human hand appeared. Then the ancient fleet transmitted one sentence to every Kharvex ship, "You have attacked our descendants." The Kharvex commander laughed nervously. "Your descendants," he said. "Humanity is primitive. Your civilization barely understands faster than light travel." The response came immediately. That was intentional. The ancient fleet began moving. Not toward the Kharvex ships. Away from them. The stars themselves seemed to bend. Then every ancient vessel vanished. The Kharvex fleet was suddenly surrounded by portals. One portal opened behind every ship. Beyond each portal was a different location, the edge of a black hole, the surface of a neutron star, empty intergalactic space, orbits around distant suns. Vorak realized the truth too late. The fleet wasn't attacking them. It was demonstrating that it could place them anywhere it wanted. "What do you want?" he demanded. The human voice answered, "Nothing." "Then why show yourselves?" "Because you destroyed Earth's last hope." Vorak smiled bitterly. "And what is your last hope?" The answer came from Earth. Us. The ancient fleet disappeared again. When it returned, it was no longer surrounding the Kharvex. It surrounded every major Kharvex world. Across the galaxy, millions of alien civilizations watched in terror as ancient human ships appeared above planets that had never even heard of Earth. But the fleet did not fire. Instead, it broadcast the same message everywhere. Humanity does not seek your extinction. The galaxy went silent. Humanity seeks an end to the cycle that created us. On Earth, Elias stared at the stars. "Mara, what cycle?" She looked at the ancient records. "Our ancestors fought the same war. Against the Kharvex." "No," she swallowed.